Hello everybody, welcome back to One Leeds here. Welcome back to another video. We are back here with the Debrief, your weekly show. And we're here to talk about a Leeds United victory over Liverpool. Yes, I'm going to say that once again, a Leeds United victory over Liverpool. Get your comments in, get your thoughts in. We're going to do our little talk sport segment for around about 20 to 25 minutes where I put a link in the description and you guys come on the channel and give us your thoughts. So that link will be posted in the chat ASAP. Do not worry about that one. But I'm going to get my main man in right now, Brownie, who has just come down from Cloud9 and back from Liverpool pretty recently, if I'm right, if I'm reading his messages right. David Brown, how you doing, my friend?
What a wonderful game football is, huh? What a wonderful game.
And we said it. We said it from day one. We were going to beat Liverpool, didn't we?
God, we all support the most frustrating team in the world, don't we? How can we have a season where we beat Liverpool and Chelsea and get beat by Guff at home? But hey, the bad moments make the good moments even sweeter, don't they? Because I mean, even the hard.
we got to touch on it straight away. Like, and I know everybody will be wondering, like, talk about the limbs, because I mean, I was in a pub and I was in with my mates. It must have been about 20 of us, and it went absolutely ballistic in that pub, mate. So I cannot imagine what it was like at Anfield. It must have been something extremely special.
I think it was the manner as well. Like, over the years, Leeds they've had some last minute winners, haven't they? We were just chatting off air, like, Leeds don't win at Anfield that often. And we've ticked off Old Trafford, or ticked off Anfield now. So we were robbed of the Etihad a couple of years ago. That'd have been unreal. That was another last minute goal though. Dallas in injury time. So yeah, I think the manner that we do it, I mean, it was just carnage, wasn't it? I mean, it was there for all to see. The videos that I've been watching look unbelievable, but it was one of them moments where, like, has that actually happened? Like, you thinking, like, injury time seemed to, it might have been different, like, for some people, but injury time seemed to go in the blink of an eye, because it was like, has that happened? Did I just see that type of thing? But by the time it actually sunk in, I mean, the Leeds fans were kept in for a good 20-25 minutes after the game. They could have kept us there for 4 hours. I don't think anybody cared. Like, it was surreal.
Does it fit for you? Is it better than that City one or not?
Yeah, because the fans are there, aren't they? The fans are there. They're there to witness it. The goal, I mean, you couldn't write it. The goal was at that end. It was in that corner.
Yeah.
It was.
Do you kind of wish Somerville had dived into the crowd?
I mean, I think he was like the fans. I don't think he knew what to do himself. No. Jesse Marsch has mentioned his celebrate. I don't think anybody knew any sort of, like, control of their body. Like, it was like an out of body experience for everybody.
Was it? Yeah.
It was just like, you don't know what to do yourself. And I always look back at the Pablo Hernandez goal against Swansea at the away end, and I've always felt for fans that they didn't get that moment. But I think last night, I think that was the biggest moment in the Premier League Leeds have had away from home.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Leeds Yank in the building saying thumbs up, folks. Make sure you do, everyone. There's about 600 of you in the building now. Make sure we get at least 300 likes, please. That would be expert. Just means the debrief gets ranked a little bit higher. Brownie, should we get into some people's thoughts? We've got a couple of people in the back stick. If you do fancy getting involved in this is a weekly segment we do before me and Brownie start shooting the analysis. We speak to you guys. Get involved. You agree with us, disagree with us, get in the comment section below and check out the link. And without any further ado, the Bielsa stand. How are you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Are you buzzing?
I am. But again, it's only just one win. It's still a long season to go, and it's going to be a tough season, I still think. But yeah, still amazing win against the Scousers, and yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, what's your name, mate, by the way?
David.
Good to meet you, mate. Good to meet you. Brownie, were you going to ask him a question?
No, I think David's spot on. It's a massive win. It's huge.
Yeah.
But it is only one. We have to build on it now. We've seen a massive win against Chelsea in August, and then we haven't won since. Right? We can't let that happen. We have to build on it. We've got a good game at home coming up. Bournemouth, who are on the back of a defeat, which was a bit of a crushing defeat for them. We've got to back it up. For me, if we don't back it up with the game coming up, I mean, it doesn't take the gloss off the win at Anfield, and I don't want to say it makes it meaningless because obviously it doesn't, but it'd be sort of like popping that balloon a bit, wouldn't it, if we win at Anfield and then don't back it up against Bournemouth. So I think David's spot on. It is one win. It's a huge win. It's massive. One that we didn't see coming. What were your thoughts, David? Who do you think stood out for you during the game? Because I mean, it was a blur for me since Saturday night. It's been a blur. I've not really.
And he didn't even drink, David. So
to be fair, like Meslier is probably the best young keeper in the world, in my opinion. I think he's on the level as Donnarumma at PSG. I think he's on that level. I do, and just the saves he made was class. But also Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams is massive. Like in the summer, I didn't know how he would do because obviously. RB Leipzig, he didn't do much last season because of game time or whatever reasons, but this season he's been terrific. He's been a great midfield for us, and like we saw that against Fulham where he didn't play and the midfield wasn't up to scratch, but he comes back and he puts in a performance.
Yeah, I think he's been our best sign. I know people mentioning Aronson and his work ethic, but for me, I think Tyler Adams, week after week, I keep saying he was my man of the match. He was my man of the match, and I keep saying that every week. Meslier, for me, listen, Connell, no, I'm a big critic of Meslier. I think he makes some unbelievable shot-stopping saves, and then he'll do something daft with his feet, or he'll come flat through a corner. I thought it was his best performance for us. I really did the other night. I think he made some big saves at key moments. I think the one in the first half.
He made 9 saves. 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a record, isn't it, this season?
It is, and some of the saves you expect him to make, but there was one in the first half which stands out for me from Núñez where he's tackled him with his feet. I think that was a massive moment in the game because I think that was at 1-1. Again, I think it's all a blur. I think that was at 1-1. I think if they go 2-1 up so quickly after scoring the first, I think it's a completely different game. So I think that was a huge save. And rightly so, got awarded with the man of the match. So I think David's spot on with them too. They were the two that I noted. I know Somerville takes the headlines, which I think Jesse Marsch has to take a bit of credit for because I think the obvious sub could have been take him off and leave Harrison on because he's a bit more experienced player, but he stuck by Somerville and it's 2-2 for him. So I think you're right, David. I think Meslier and Adams, I think, really, really stood out for me as well.
Nonto as well. He comes on and he assists. Bamford assists.
He's not having that. He's not having that. That was a dodgy touch. He's not having that. We're giving it to Nonto.
Have you been reading my notes, David? Because I've got Nonto written down because I thought he's only 18, but he felt like he was an old head on young shoulders.
Yeah, he looked good, didn't he?
Looked composed. Good. So even the build up to the goal, he's put it into a good area. He's flicked it up. I think it was Milner. He looked after the ball, and I don't think he lost the ball in his cameo appearance in our half, in their half. I was quite impressed with Nonto, I have to say.
He should start this weekend, I think. I think it's a good game for him to start this weekend against Bournemouth. Bournemouth's a good team.
How do you drop someone after that? I mean...
David, listen, mate. We might do a bonus one. We might do a bonus Bournemouth podcast. But yeah, we'd love to get you back on, mate. But I really appreciate it, mate. The only reason I'm cutting off early, pal, is we've got people in the background. That's all. But David, I'd love to see you on again, mate. And all the best, buddy.
Quick one, Connor. Quick before he goes, he needs to give the Bournemouth prediction.
He does. David, what's your score prediction, mate? What's your score prediction? Thank you for reminding me.
I'm gonna go for 2-0. I'm going to go for an Ayling corner, heads it in for 1-0.
Okay.
And
Ayling scores from a corner?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
and I'm going to go for Aronson as well. He has to score against Bournemouth this weekend.
Yeah, 100%.
Cheers.
All right, mate. Well, you have a good evening, buddy, and we'll speak to you soon, all right?
Cheers.
Here we are. Gabe, I didn't even mean to get you on
Oh,
so quickly,
jeez.
but here we are.
Here he is.
Hi, guys.
Here he is. This is one Leeds' American boy. How we doing, mate? All good?
Exactly as I predicted. 2-1 Leeds. The same as we all did. Jesus Christ.
How are you feeling, man? It was once again, it's like what we were saying beforehand. It is a team tactically that it looks like we can play against pretty well. They were trying to play it through us. They weren't going over our press, and it helped Leeds hugely, didn't it? And Leeds are fantastic. We can't really deny that.
Yeah, it's a bad Liverpool team right now, it should be said. I mean, they're not playing well. Virgil van Dijk has been a shell of himself. And those players look tired. And I think, a lot has been said about playing for Bielsa season after season. I think the same needs to be said about playing Jurgen Klopp's system year after year. I think it does a lot on your body. And a lot's been made about them not bringing in enough signings, especially I think Nunez hasn't worked out quite as they would have liked. Although he's done okay. It's 4 goals, I think. But he's clearly not Sadio Mane. And I think looks like they're in a bad way at the moment. So I don't want to make too much of it. I mean, obviously, a huge result. We've not won an Anfield for, how long has it been? 20 some odd years? How many?
I think the last one was it 98 with Smith and Hasselbank, and I think that was it, wasn't it?
No, I think we had one with Boyo, and was Ferdinand scored a winner there at that
Oh,
end.
was it something like 2-1?
Yeah, 2001, I think it was. So
Yeah.
like
Right.
98, 2001. So a long time ago, 21 years, in it. So
Very baggy jerseys and shorts. Yeah, no. So it's a great win. I think that what I wanted to ask you guys about coming on was because we talked about Marsch last week, right?
Yep.
And I'm curious to know what the results would have to be before the January window for him to keep his job in your minds. I mean, obviously he's going to keep it now. I have my kind of list of the fixtures of Bournemouth, Tottenham, Man City, and Newcastle, but I wanted to know what you two thought as well, because for me, it can't just be. I mean, we can't have another Chelsea, can we?
No, I think if he was going to go, they'd have done it after the Fulham game. For me, for them to stick with him after that, which was pretty bleak, like you say, we hadn't won since August. To stick with him, they've given him his signings that he wants: your Adams, your Aronsons, your Rocker, his players. I think they stick with him now. I can't see them changing it this season. I really, unless we go on another run of 2 months without a win.
If we lose to Bournemouth, I still think he's not the right guy.
Yeah, I sort of agree with Gabe. I think you lose to Bournemouth, and it really counts for nothing again, doesn't it? I mean, that's been ultra negative, but obviously, if we're talking about that, you can't. This is what I said. I said it on a tweet. You have to follow it up. You have to follow that up with a win against Bournemouth at home, a newly promoted side. Right. Leeds should be the favourites for that game. They should be coming to Elland Road, and Leeds should be taking all 3 points. But for me, mate, I mean, so is it? So before the World Cup, I believe it is. So we've got Bournemouth, and is it? So we've got Tottenham. Wolves as well. Not Wolves. Yeah, Wolves in there in the League
in the Cup.
Yeah, and then it's Spurs, and then that's it, isn't it? Until the World Cup. Yeah. So I think a positive return for him, and is it a realistic one? Maybe if we can keep that performance level up, and sometime somehow he can adapt a little bit to the other sort of teams. I think if he beats Bournemouth and he gets a point against Spurs, that's a very good return. 7 points in 9.
About that. If
that would be a very, very good return. I think if he was to lose both, I can't. That's not me being convinced at all. What about you, Gabe? Are you thinking? What do you think he has to do to stay in the job? Really,
I think we're outside the point where we can be dropping all 3 points against sides like Bournemouth now.
Yeah.
I just. If they're below 13th, I think you have to expect, especially at home, that we should win those matches. Because if you don't, teams like that go down, right? So, and if we're not going to have confidence that we're going to stay up, then why would we stay with the manager? But there's two to think. There's what the board will accept and what I think we as the fans should accept. And I think, we need to win against Bournemouth. I think this Tottenham team is drawable. Personally, it's going to be a hard game, but I think we could salvage a draw against them. I'd be happy with that. A loss against Man City, and then leading into the new year, Newcastle, and you'd think a win against West Ham after a loss to Newcastle.
Gabe, the crazy thing is at the minute, I don't know if this is a ridiculous way of thinking. And Liverpool, you've got to contextualise it, because I agree with you. Liverpool are definitely on the downturn. I think post Sadio Mane has been traumatic for them. But you do look at Arsenal, who are flying at the minute, and what we did to them. I mean, that literally could have been 4 or 5, in my opinion. Chelsea, they weren't in a good space. But you look at those 3 teams, you think, 6 points out of 9. Is it sort of a headspace flip now, where I know we don't have the quality, but against these sorts of teams, but are you now looking at it and thinking, well, the upper echelon teams who will try and play through Leeds United, I'm talking top 8 here, by the way.
Yeah.
Are they the games that Leeds need to be targeting, because it's going to benefit us? So we're talking about Newcastle, Spurs, City obviously is probably a bit of an outlier, but you might throw West Ham in there because I think they're going to finish a lot higher up this season. But are you looking at those teams and thinking, okay, well let's have a go then?
Personally, I can't see that being a winning strategy for Jesse Marsch, that just be a scalp guy to take the top 5 sides on, and that'll keep you in your job. I think that watching back as many of the games as I can more than once, I think there's a mentality difference in the players when they play these really good sides and when they play sides they think they should beat. I see it most in players like Harrison and some of the old guard players. They just don't get up for it. The intensity is not there. And I think one thing that we saw this week that I was actually pleased with about Marsch, because my concern was that he was just going to get stuck in. He's been talking about these fine young men for almost a whole year now. And I was concerned he was just going to say, well, I believe in these guys, and I'm just going to go with the old heads. I think time's running out on some of these players, and it should. I think that against some of these teams that you think we should win, I don't think we're going to see him rolling out the Harrisons and Bamfords. And it's interesting about Rodrigo. I mean, he's got 6 goals. I don't think they're great goals, but he's got. Or can you sit the guy who's got 6 goals as a manager? Yeah. I don't.
I had this debate when the teams came out. I mean, Rodrigo, he's playing on a goal every 2 games.
It's the link up. It's the link up, though, isn't it?
Over the course of the season, if you've got a striker who gets 19 goals, which is the ratio he's playing at, how can you chuck out a goal? You can't. You can't. Him out. But I mean, Bamford. I mean, again, I think about 10 minutes to go, he takes it that on his right foot.
Why did he take it on 10? Why did he take it on that foot? Why?
He's got 10 high quality chances that he's missed this season. We're not even talking about 10 chances, but 10 high quality chances. The conversion rate for chances, I think average for a player like him is between 8 to 10% on just regular chances. High quality chances, you'd expect that to spike much higher.
I do think we are a good number 9 away from a good team. We have got the nucleus of a good team, and I keep seeing this about Aylins and Bamford. They're not playing. There was only Harrison who played, and I mean, he got dropped in the game before. Cooper, I mean, people will probably disagree, but other than the calamity where he nearly let Salah through, I actually thought he played. I actually thought, other than that, set that Liam Cooper moment out of the game, I thought he managed the game quite well.
What is it with these Leeds players that are so hot and cold? So like Cooper, a couple times, amazing positioning, great header, needed to happen. And then there's 2 or 3 plays where every time I'm like, what are you doing?
I think that separates the elite players as well, Gabe, to be honest, because it's what I always go on about, decision making and focus. That definitely compromises a quality player as well. And unfortunately, Liam Cooper is never going to be a quality Premier League player. So I think you're going to get good games from him. But that lapse in concentration, I mean, Crystal Palace is a classic example where, for me, he's at fault for 2 of the goals. And, there was if that mistake happened, once again, it's Ilan Mele, isn't it? A one-on-one save where if he fumbles that bag, Leeds fans are absolutely hounding him out because it's 1-1. And he messes it up twice. And I think players like that, unfortunately, will always have that in them. Hence why we do need upgrades at points. But yeah,
I think you're right. And I know we got to run here. You've got other people waiting, guys. I got to ask you though. Here's the question, right? If we sell Liam Cooper, if you're Jesse Marsch, do you sell Liam Cooper in January? And if so, do you make Tyler Adams your captain? Because if you make an American...
You see my tweet today where I got a few nibbles on that. I knew I'd get a few nibbles on that, Gabe. I said he should be just to put him as captain now, and everyone was coming back at me. And I said, why not? But then I think I was speaking to a lad who's a friend of the channel, Paddy as well, one of Brownie's friends. He was quite right. He was saying, look, you can't really change your captain mid-season. I think that is problematic. But from a leadership standpoint, Gabe, for me on the pitch, when you look at him, I mean, everyone talks about Cooper's organisation, his leadership. There's only one leader on that pitch, and it's not Liam Cooper.
No, Tyler Adams. Yeah.
About you, Brownie?
You don't captain Leeds United 200 times if you're not a leader. That's my opinion. And he's not just been a captain over one manager or two managers. He's done it over several managers. So we only see what goes on for 90 minutes. We don't see behind closed doors. There's got to be a reason why manager after manager after manager have made him captain for 200 times for Leeds. So listen, I love Tyler Adams. I think he's been the signing of the season, and he probably is my favourite player for Leeds. He's captain quality. You see him rallying around. You saw it with the Bamford penalty against Arsenal. He was the only one who was getting involved and getting the Arsenal players out of the way when he was getting bullied around the penalty spot. Yep. You saw it the other night. There was a tackle on someone, and it was Adams straight over, pushing Robertson out of the way. He's first to everything, is Adams, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, I think I'd be very shocked if Cooper left in January, put it that way.
Well, the true man of the match, the blue pen, talisman. Bring it back next week, Brownie. Bring it back next week.
Bring the pen.
That's it. I'm superstitious, so it's got to happen.
Got a big smear.
Paint myself in blue every week.
That's the victory.
That's it. Superstition now. You've got to do that every week. Gabe, it's been a pleasure, my friend. And I'm sure we'll see you next week, man.
Indeed. See you guys.
See you later, man.
Brilliant.
There we go. Dan Morrison says, season's results would suggest we should play counter-attacking football. Still not sold on Marsch ball. Yeah, there's something to that, I think, Dan. I think
that's what we are doing. And I think that's why, 50% of our points have come from Chelsea and Liverpool. I mean, when we're playing these teams who do have more of the ball, I think it benefits us. And we've got to find a way now to, when teams come to Ellen Road and time waste and don't want as much of the ball, we've got to find a way now to impose ourselves with the ball as well as without the ball. Because, the first goal at Anfield, it came from Liverpool having the ball and us forcing a mistake and winning it high up. The Chelsea goal, the Mendy, they've got the ball, we're forcing a mistake high up.
Yep.
We've got to find a way now to beat teams who don't have the majority of the ball. And I think the stats are there to see that when we are playing these teams, the chances and that aren't as there. We had countless chances against Arsenal. Again, another team who like to have the ball and we can force mistakes. So yeah, it's massive win. So is the Chelsea one, and I think that's the conundrum that Jesse Marsch has got to come up with now. We've got to find a way now to beat the.
I agree. And do you want me to I need to consolidate what you're saying as well. Brilliant account on Twitter. She's called Grace Robertson, and she's really good when it comes to football stuff. She says Leeds with 40%. Listen to this, Brownie. Leeds with 40% or less possession this season, 100% win rate. Leeds with over 40% possession this season, 0% win rate. And she just put the kind of hallmark of the Red Bull style football. Great when given transition opportunities. Not so great when teams do a big Sam. There you go.
And it is pretty clear that when teams just sit and let us have it, we can't force their mistakes as much. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for Jesse Marsch now. I'm looking for an improvement against, which sounds bonkers, but against the weaker opposition in the league. Because if you match that up with the wins we've had against Liverpool and Chelsea, you've got the nucleus of a really good squad and a good team.
Let's get another one in, Brownie. It's Tashin. Hello, my friend.
Good evening, guys. Connor, Brownie.
How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I certainly wasn't expecting that win. Wasn't expecting that. Mind you, was any of us, like you say?
I think so. I think we on this show were definitely, and my videos last week were all leading to a Leeds win. I think, yeah. I was ultra positive last week. I've been ultra positive for the last month. So I think Tashin, yeah, we're all predicting a win. I actually think I said 4-1 Liverpool. So yeah, I don't think so, mate.
Yeah,
very positive.
That's what makes the win that much better. And
yeah,
we have suffered for the last 5 or 6 weeks. We've had nothing to cheer about, and the manner of the win at Anfield, to do it there, I think that made it all a bit sweeter. But yeah, I think what were we, 8-1 to win the game? Nobody gave us a hope or a prayer. So yeah, it was massive.
Tashin, what have you got to say, my man? What have you got to say about that Leeds United win and the situation at the minute?
Well, I'm keeping my feet on the ground. especially given how after we beat Chelsea, we were all up on cloud 9 and thought, crikey, where can we go this season? And it just all went slowly downhill. The draws against the boring draws against Fat Flanks Everton, then the 4-game losing streak. I mean, what this time last week, I was literally like, oh, come on, we've got to get rid of Jesse now. This is just getting beyond the joke. But we cannot let any good results paper over the cracks. The board have got no excuses not to do any business. We still need to invest in January. We need a striker, left back, and ideally I'd like to get a central midfielder in as well. The board cannot afford to not put the rounds in the pockets because last January when we beat Burnley, beat West Ham, and we had some good results, that just gave them the excuse to not do anything, and it nearly cost us big time. And they cannot, and they've already allowed lightning strike twice as well by not investing enough. They really have to pay attention now.
I do agree. I was at the West Ham game at whatever it's called, not Upton. We'll call it Upton Park, but it's
Fishbowl.
Yeah, I was at that game where Harrison scored a hat trick, and that was it was the middle of January, and it put us up to about 11th, 12th, and I think the board then thought, oh, we've got enough here, and didn't do any business. And you're right, we are weak in certain areas, and like I've alluded to in the last call, I think this sounds awful because Rodrigo scored 6 and Bamford's done well, but I think we're a top quality striker away from having a good team. So I think you're right. There's no excuse not to go out and buy a striker. If we could only get one position, I think it would be that. And I know people will say we've got Nonto and Gelhardt. I'm talking an experienced number 9.
A Premier League striker. Why can we not be given a Premier League striker like every other side? You know, it's not me hounding out Patrick Bamford or anything like that, but 10 big chances missed, and he started 4 games. I don't know about you, Tashin, but I'm not sure he's ever going to get to that. We all love him and all this sort of stuff, and Leeds fans are incredible at giving people slack because Bamford has been very, very off and on in his Leeds career, but overall. He doesn't really seem to be hitting the heights. And I think ultimately, like we were talking about earlier, Tash, and that's why Rodrigo's getting so many minutes.
Yep. I think Bamford is broken, in my opinion. Bamford was my favourite player as well, especially during that first Premier League season as well, with his 17 goals and his contributions. And ever since he's got injured, he's not been the same. I really do not think he's ever going to get back to his dizzying heights again. I mean, he's getting older as well. He's going to be 30 next season as well. I think he's probably got a couple more injuries in him this season as well. I think he's broken. He's never going to get it back. And I
actually thought
you have to look at the chances that he missed as well. And I'll tell you what, would either of you guys object to Chris Wood coming back? Because I've read a few rumours on dirt sheets and what have you saying that we may be linked with a loan move for Chris Wood in January. I mean, yeah, he knows where the back of the net is. Okay, there probably will be some people say, no, don't bother with him. Which will probably say, why not get Chris Wood and Charlie Taylor back in? If they get Charlie Taylor in January, because they're both Premier League proven.
Go on, Brownie.
Would I take Chris Wood? No, I don't know. I'm not sure I would. No pun intended with the wood, but I'm not sure. No, I don't think I would.
Take the other one back though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But I mean, I'd play any of us three at left back at the minute. That's not taking anything away from Strike. I think he's done an unbelievable job at left back, but then you can put him centre half. I guess
the thing is as well with Chris Wood, Tashin, is the fact that he's just getting no game time at the minute. And I guess if he's coming into a Leeds United side without that much game time, we're all talking about Bamford being rusty. Is Chris Wood going to come in and hit those dizzy heights?
If you can find me someone with Rodrigo's prowessing around the box, because let's be right, when he does get a chance in around the box, he does hit the target, but his link-up play outside the box.
I think his link-up play is terrible.
Exactly. So if you could find me a Bamford movement and a Rodrigo finisher, you could morph one of them together. Like let's play, then let's go get one of them. But yeah.
especially with the way Rodrigo always takes far too many touches as well.
That's it, mate. Yeah, Tashin, we're gonna have to move on, my friend. Have you got any final parting words for people in the chat about Leeds United?
Yep, Gnonto, what a class act. He is going to be a class act. Let's make sure he gets more minutes as well. And if we're struggling with Bamford as well, why not try Gnonto up top with Joffe? Because both of them being quite small in their size, they both are quite strong. So why not just have both of them up top? Joffe could probably be more of a battering ram, and Gnonto getting behind. Of course, that's more theoretical than anything. Probably might not work out in real play.
Everyone get in the chat. Tasha, I'm sure you're going to be back in the chat, mate, and I want to see that lighting up with your opinions on that. Would you take Gnonto and Gelhardt up top? Mate, I really appreciate you coming in. I hope to see you next week, and we'll see you in a bit, buddy. All right.
Cheers, fellas. Been a pleasure. Take care.
See you, mate. Bye. There we go. It's flying in, and it's extensive, this one, isn't it? We've got a couple more. We'll leave it at that for this week. Everyone, really appreciate your time. But we've got two good guests in the back of the backdrop as well. I recognise both of them. But yeah, you're saying some good things there, and it's going to be fascinating to see what the lads have got to say about this. We've got Matt in the building. Hello, my friend.
What's up, boys? You all right?
You all right, Matt?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. What have you got to say, Matt?
Well, first of all, really, I know it's on everyone's minds, but it's all good and well beating Liverpool at Anfield, but the 3 points there at Ellen Road against Bournemouth, really, aren't they? And if we can't beat Bournemouth, then I'm going to be questioning the manager again, unfortunately. I hate to say it, I don't want to be negative, but unfortunately, after my experience as a Leeds fan in the previous years to like the last three sort of thing, I'm just that way inclined.
Yeah, we do. We have to build on the win. Yeah. We've seen it. We had a magnificent win against Chelsea and then didn't win since. So I hope that the lads have learnt things from that. I really do. And I'm not expecting to go to Tottenham next week and win. Tottenham are good at home. They're having a good season under Conte. Beat Bournemouth at home. Get to the World Cup. I wouldn't say we've turned a corner, but we're more comfortable than it was last week. I mean, I think we could be sat bottom.
Yeah, to go off what you said there, I think, like you say, if we beat Bournemouth and then go away to Tottenham and just give it a go and don't get absolutely peppered, then you can think, fair play. You know, we've got 3 points and, ideal sort of thing. Like you say, you don't expect to beat Spurs. And what I would say is, I don't think too many people say this, but I think the issue we have is, one, we've got too many conference players. Rodrigo, conference player. Jack Harrison, conference player. Bamford, conference player. They're 3 attackers out the 4 conference players. And when you've got a fan base like we have, where the other, what it's like.
We're all really positive bunch.
Well,
that's what I mean.
I get where you're coming from here, and I was intrigued because we heard the talk about the psychologist and the psychiatrist and whoever you want to bring in.
Yeah.
But yet in the same press conference, he kind of, and I liked it because over the last few weeks and months, even when we've got beat, it's been well done, never mind, pat on the back, give me a cuddle. And he kind of went at the players a little bit this week, I think. I think he saw a little bit different to Jesse Mack, whether it was Last Chance Saloon, who knows. But he kind of, without saying names, he called a few people out. And I liked it because if you get beat, I don't want to see me players getting cuddled and high-fived and do you know what I mean? You're getting beat. You're 3-1 down at home to Fulham. I don't want, well done, mate. Never mind. Good luck next week. I want my play. And when you're saying confidence players, when they're getting called out, they can go into the shell even further. So to actually put in that performance, it showed me, do you know what? Some of these players do need a bit of a rollicking and do need a bit of a rocket. And maybe they are mollycoddled a little bit too much.
What would you do with the lineup, mate? Would you keep it as it is for Bournemouth? Because I was saying earlier, mate, that the consistency is something that we've really struggled with when it's comes to the lineup. It seems like nigh on everyone's fit. Obviously, Sinister is training this week as well. I mean, I'm going to put something out there, and hopefully, if he does start, he proves me wrong. But I would actually maybe look at dropping Jack for this one, and then sticking Louis back in there if he is available, and just leaving it like that. What are your thoughts? Would you just leave it as it is, or would you change it up a little bit?
Yeah, Jack Harrison's got to come out. I was in one of the few that wanted him gone when Newcastle were after him, allegedly, to be honest, because like you call him hot and cold Harrison. I say he's like lukewarm Harrison, really. If that, like, he's the most frustrating player to watch. Like, he gets the ball and sort of looks like he's like, for example, when it was him and Brendan Harrison running through.
I know what you mean.
Actually,
Yeah.
2-on-2.
I think for Harrison, I just don't think
He hasn't got a brain.
I don't think.
I
mean,
I'm not trying to
put Harrison on a wing, and I like him, but I just don't think he fits this system.
I think it's the left. I think it's the left as well, isn't it? I think he wants to play on the left, but Sinisterra is not going to go off the left because he's better than Harrison. So it's like, well, what do you do with Jack?
We all Harrison likes to get the ball, head down, runs. Yes, sometimes he runs into dead ends and dead alleys and what have you. But I think when he's doing that in the centre of the pitch, he's gonna be running into bodies. So you're probably right, Sinisterra, if he's fit in for Harrison, because I think he suits that area in the middle of the pitch a little bit better. I would look at Bournemouth, though. You've got Kiefer Moore up top. They like to get from back to front quite quickly. They've got Billing. They've got big lads in there. So
Solanke's another one as well.
Yeah. Would that come into the equation? When obviously the last caller was talking about Nonto and Gelhardt, I think you've got to look at Bournemouth as well. I think you've got to think about them because they are above us in the table. I don't think we should change our team to suit them, but I think it could be a physical battle.
Playing really well, Bournemouth. Yeah,
you're spot on, Brownie. To be fair, like you say, just to reiterate what everyone's been saying prior to this, to me coming in here, just like you say, the onus is on us now to keep the ball and create chances, and we cannot do that. Like you say, the stat you mentioned that person tweeted earlier on, Connor, regarding our possession and how we win when we have like less than 40% possession or something. Again, it comes down to the pressure, I think, as well. I think sometimes when you've got the pressure behind you, like on you, and you've got to try and make those chances sort of happen, it's then that's when the mistakes almost come, because you got so pressured, you almost like you're pressured into mistakes. Like
Matt, there's got to be in a sense. I know people don't like plan Bs, mate, but you have to be pragmatic. We can't keep seeing the same things that we saw against Fulham, Everton, Villa, all these sort of sides where they just clip it over the press. There has to be. It can't just be one way or nothing, because I don't see how that's going to be beneficial for Leeds in the long run. Is it almost just like Leeds against the top 8? Is that what we do? So it's got to be more consistent, I think.
Yeah, like you say, the top 8 want to stamp their authority and their playing style in the game, whereas the teams around us, they'll take a point. So however they can do that, they'll do it. So it's on us to create the chances and do. I don't really think we have the players. We do have a few decent players. I rate Brendan Harrison, but going back to something again, I still don't think we've replaced Pablo in terms of his football IQ and getting in the pocket and playing some smart balls to Bamford. Not that he'd score them, but we definitely miss that. And like he's a big moment player as well. Like he obviously swans it away and he's a good free kick taker. We've not really sort of got a good free kick taker as well.
No, I think it's just picking on something you said, Connor, about Bournemouth. They're doing really well, and before the Tottenham game, I think they were unbeaten in 5. They've had a good run under Gary O'Neill. If we beat them, we go above them. Yeah, last week we were booking trips to Preston and Bristol City for next year. I think it's a mad season, and look, don't get me wrong, I was one of them. I was thinking we're doomed here. But now you look a week later, you look at the table and you think, beat Bournemouth, we could be 11th with a game in hand. It's such a topsy-turvy, and this is why this Bournemouth game is big, because if you don't beat
Bournemouth is huge.
You don't beat Bournemouth, we could be back in the bottom 3, heading to Tottenham again. So this game is massive. I think Saturday was nice. It relieved a little bit of pressure. I think Jesse Marsch can really relieve a lot of pressure with this Bournemouth game. You sit on 15.
But Brownie, I think I really agree with what the previous caller was saying. I don't know what your thoughts are, Matt, in terms of like he has to back this up, because, and I think the Leeds fans, I don't know if you're the same, mate, but we all got so high after Chelsea that it was almost like, oh my God, we are going to, this is a completely different Leeds. We haven't got a soft underbelly. We've got real quality now. We've got Bamford coming back. I think he was supposed to be coming back that week. And then obviously that extended again. But I think this time there's a lot more level-headedness. And this is actually a better win than the Chelsea win in terms of, Liverpool away. So I think a lot more fans, it's interesting. We've just had people on tonight who were turning around and saying, we've just got to keep feet on the ground a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, really, and I hope everyone sort of feels the same way, and I'm sure they do. But I think what people need to realise is, it sounds a bit of a bizarre comment to make, to be honest, but the blueprint to beat Liverpool away is a lot easier to beat Bournemouth at home for someone like us, simply because if we lose, the blueprint doesn't matter because no one expects us to win against Liverpool anyway. Against Bournemouth, we're almost not expected to win, but we're all quietly confident that we can beat Bournemouth. So I think.
So do you think there's more pressure on that? You think there's more pressure on the Bournemouth game than there was the Liverpool game?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
I would agree. Yeah, like you say, nobody really thought we were going to get anything at Anfield. We were all laughing and joking about how many we were going to be. I mean, at one point, I was going to get an abacus for you, Connor. I mean, so them wins are nice, but they're unexpected. I think you're totally bang on. I think the game at home to Bournemouth, and I say this against anybody, at home, take the top 6 out of it. At home, I want to win. I
think it's as well, like when Fulham came to town and Mitrovic was the main man. Mitrovic was the guy we had to neutralise, and we struggled to do that. Like you just said, Kiefer Moore's coming off the back of 2 goals against Tottenham. He's going to come into this Leeds game full of confidence. We've got to really learn how to manage the big man, the big physical man up top. And that's going to have to be something that they look at this week.
Yeah. Again, that's why I'd start Liam Cooper on the weekend, just because he is good in the air, isn't he?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Along with Kopp. But that's, again, reiterate what we need to do in January, get a left back into slot, Pascal back in there. To be fair, like everyone's been saying, he's a central defender, and he's been absolutely excellent at left back. And shout out to Rasmus as well, to be fair. I think he had a difficult start at Leeds, but I think the last few games against some big players, he's come into his own. He's actually looking like a good signing. I was questioning it to start, and sort of my family were as well, but I think he's actually looking quite solid now.
I think we've said, haven't we, Brownie? I think he's coming, and that's why I got so annoyed when Ayling started ahead of him, because it's like, what are we doing here? Like, he's really got some momentum. Rasmus, he's developing a little bit. His confidence is clearly growing, and then he drops him for Ayling. It's like we just need to keep. I don't know about you as well, Matt, and obviously we'll get Brownie's take on it, but I think it's so important for a back 4 to be consistent. A back 4 and a goalkeeper, a back five has got to be so consistent, because breeding confidence in each person in that back 5 is absolutely massive. And I think just keeping that, we did that at the start of the season, didn't we? For the first 4 games, it was the same back 4 all the time, and then it started to change a little bit, and understanding his partnerships, cohesion changes a little bit. But I think it's a big thing, isn't it, Matt?
Well, yeah, you saw that towards the end of Bielsa's tenure, really. Like, he had to keep chopping and changing central defenders and whatnot. And again, there was more to it than that as to why he got sacked. But that was a big part of the reason, in my opinion, why it was going so badly. It's just sort of central defenders chopping and changing. You've always played football yourself, and you do sort of build chemistry and whatnot with people you play with. And if someone else is chucked in there, it is a bit sort of, especially in the Premier League, it's a completely different level, isn't it? So you're going to get you need a bit of sort of bedding in time with that person, and sometimes chopping and changing isn't the answer.
All feels very simple, doesn't it, Matt? It's almost like they just get a win against Bournemouth, get a few players in January, just 2 or 3 max, and then we go into the next half of the season, and it's all hunky dory. But we don't do it that way, do we?
No.
Well, that's what annoyed me the most with the Fulham game, and I said it on the debrief after the Ayling Christensen switch. It just made no sense. Rasmus had been improving his performances week upon week. The back 5 was starting to become settled, and then he just switched it, and it didn't make any sense to me, and that annoyed. That was the biggest switch that annoyed me the most in that game. But I
thought just reacting to that as well, though, Brownie, and obviously putting this to Matt as well. I thought his substitution the other night, you mentioned it already, Brownie. He said instead of taking Somerville off, which would have made sense for Nyon, so he took Jack Harrison off, and that's what I thought. I thought that was a really, really good substitution, because it'd have really annoyed me if he'd have, done the whole favourite thing. I'm not saying he is his favourite, but Jack Harrison does seem to be, on the pitch every single week, even if he is in poor form. I thought it'd have been a real disappointing, substitution if he'd have kept Jack on, because he was having a poor game.
Yeah, I mean, it was the young lad's always the easy option, isn't it? Bring the young lad off. He's got some minutes. He'll be happy he's just played. It would have been the easy option. I thought Somerville was quiet, so it wouldn't have surprised me for him to go off. But I think that last 15, 20 minutes, he was growing into it himself. So yeah, I thought the substitution of Harrison coming off was a good one. I mean, I've questioned quite a few subs from Marsch this season, so credit where credit's due. I thought the substitution was spot on, and I liked the fact that Ayling come on late on, like to shore it up. It was quick thinking. The subs were spot on.
Yeah. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Have you got any parting words for us and people in the chat?
That's it, boys. Just thanks for having me on. Enjoy my time and all the best.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good to see you on again, mate. If you fancy coming back on, top man.
Yeah, decent. Cheers, lad.
See you, mate. Oh, good lad. We've had a good run again tonight, mate. I thought at the start maybe people didn't want to come on; they were just in the chat. But we've had 4 or 5 real good ones, and we're gonna end it with Russ. Russ has been on the channel before, and then me and you will get into just waffling about some rubbish Leeds content, which won't be as good as what everybody else has been saying.
We could just sing about Somerville and Rodrigo.
Yeah, we'll get him in now. Russ, my friend, how you doing?
All good, kind of. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. I think we're very good, actually. Yeah, we're very good. It's a lot more chilled. I feel like the last couple of weeks we've been coming on here and ranting and raving. Well, I have anyway. But yeah, are you sort of pie in the sky at the minute? You feeling amazing about Leeds United? Everything's hunky dory. We're going for Europe again.
Yeah, mate. And I just want to say, because I said not many people had predicted Leeds to win 2-1 this weekend. Yeah. Friday night I did my Super 6 because Leeds won the Super 6 this weekend.
Oh, here we go, Russ. You're going to put us down, aren't you?
And I went 2-1 to Leeds United.
Russ, you have to send us some proof. You have to send us some proof, mate.
And then Saturday afternoon as well.
Can I just ask how many pints of Stella had you had at that point?
I had none. I had none down here. And also, just when teams come out, I said to a friend of mine he's from Barnsley, my area, and we follows Liverpool as well. I think we'll lose, but I'm going to say 2-1 to Leeds. I thought Rodrigo getting both, and I said Salah to score for Liverpool as well.
Yeah, have you got the lottery numbers? You got the lottery numbers for the weekend?
Unfortunately, Brown, you have not, my friend.
Oh, if anything comes into your mind, though, if you can think of it, just pop them in the chat, and we'll all be millionaires.
Let us. So, what are your thoughts altogether, then, Russ? I mean, I know you've been on here before, mate, but are you positive about everything that's going on at the minute? Are you sort of feet on the ground after the Liverpool game? Do you think now it's going to be sort of I mean, what we've not spoken about so far is, do we think that that's going to be a kicking on moment for Leeds, or do you think? I mean, I hope this doesn't happen, but we sort of regress into old ways. How do you think it's going to go, mate?
Well, for me, I said I was on another channel after the Fulham game, and I said for me I was Marsch out, and to be honest, I'm still at the minute because, and the reason being, we can play like we did against Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool, and then when we come up against the teams we're expected to win, like the Fulham, Leicester, Villa, we're putting the performances that we did, and for me, we need to find a way where we can play against the teams that power the bus, so to speak, or not having much space to attack and always play our game, and play similar and try and find a way to counter that, like we can do the team that come against us, that we saw against Arsenal, that we saw for this against Chelsea, and for the 90 minutes of the weekend against Liverpool. I know Elam Elliott got man of the match and got a lot of applause for the saves he made, and I've seen a few people mention Tyler Adams and Brendan Anderson for their man of the match of the weekend. But for me, Rasmus Christensen was my man of the match of the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's getting better on week in, week out. Salah tried to go over there at one point. He didn't let Salah have much space, didn't let Núñez have much space. Núñez had to come inside quite a bit to get a lot of joy down Liverpool's left-hand side, our right-hand side. And he's improving week on week, Rasmus Christensen. Only reason I think he took him out of the Fulham game last week and fetched Ayling in is because Ayling's coming back from injury, and you may want to see if Ayling could last full 90 minutes for when they have to rotate maybe later on in season if fatigue kicks in for Rasmus. So that's the only thing I can think of why he put Ayling in last week against Fulham. For me,
I think he just lost a lot, to be honest.
And also for me, I think if we do want to push Stroud back in at centre back and take, instead of getting I put Ayling back in the right back and maybe move Christensen across to the left, because I know Christensen can play on the left-hand side, a left back as well. So maybe put Christensen over there, Ayling there, just see how that goes for a bit till we can get a left back in if, say, Cooper struggles to find a bit of form towards them. But I think, for me, I don't think we could pick any bad player out of the weekend. I think they all played well at the weekend and fantastic performance.
I think it would be difficult to change the team because of the result and how well everyone did. And what just touching on Rasmus, like you brought Christensen up, I love his celebrations when he makes a big tackle. He's done it in quite a few games now. He'll smash into someone and then just give it one, and I love it. It's proper. It comes across proper Leeds, and you can see how much joy he gets from it. And there was Christensen, there was Rocker, there was Adams at full time, and when the goals went in, and this kind of changed my opinion a little bit with Jesse Marsch. The players are behind him. The players are really, really in it. You could tell sometimes when, I've been in dressing rooms when you're not having a manager. Give it a few weeks, he'll be gone. I'm not really going to put a shift in, but you can see the lads.
Ossett Town are thinking about their assistant manager at the minute. I've heard. You
can see they're putting a shift in, and the stats were there with how much they ran. The most the team was running the Premier League this season.
Brendan Harrison ran 14k.
I saw that.
Just things like that just show that they are putting a shift in for the manager. Which, if they're putting a shift in for the manager, we've got to get behind him best we can. It's difficult when you're getting beat at home to Fulham and you're travelling to London and 70 minutes pathetic against Palace. It is difficult to find positives, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm still on cloud 9, but I think
I think it is, isn't it?
I think
you've done a full reversal, you.
No, we've been out of the Premier League for that long, and I've been to Yeovil, I've been to Leyton Orient, I've been to Tranmere. I think we just got to enjoy as much as we can. And I'm the biggest person who's guilty of this, of getting down when we get beat. I must be a nightmare to live with when we get beat, dearie me. Next week's my partner's birthday, and if we get beat by Bournemouth, it's going to ruin it. But she's dreading it. She went, they better win. But I think we've just got to enjoy game on game. I don't want to be, just happy to be here, because that's
do you know what? Do you know what that is? That's 16 years of hurt. That's nearly 2 decades of anxiety-ridden crap. That's what it is. I'm telling you, because if you're a Norwich, if you're a Watford, and you'll probably agree with this as well, Russ, you almost know you're going to go down and come straight back up. With Leeds United, with everything we've faced in the past 2 decades, that's what I think maybe people who've just started following Leeds don't understand, why when we get down, we get really down, because we know what it's been like. We've been through the absolute ringer when it comes to Leeds United. We've been to Exeter, we've been to Stockport County. We've had these horrible days in League One, and where the club was nigh on going out of business 15 years ago. So I think that's the context that needs to be applied, mate. And I think that's why it's so difficult from a personal perspective for me to fully enjoy it, because I can't handle us being on that teetering edge of relegation and experiencing something like that again. I don't know if that's sort of.
I do, and I'm sure you'll agree, mate. I look at Forest this season and the bottom. You look last year, Norwich and Watford came up and gone straight back down. You see season upon season teams coming up and going straight back down. We didn't do that.
I honestly don't think we would, and that's not a disparaging comment on Leeds. I think just because of hopefully this isn't going to happen anyway. I'm just saying I feel like with Leeds, because we're such a massive club, we've got so many players who are definitely in the spotlight for other clubs at the minute. I can tell you that for a fact. They will be picked off, and I just think it will be a bad scenario for Leeds, and financially it'd be awful for us anyway. So it always seems like we're on that teetering edge, Russ. I don't know if you agree with that, mate.
I do a little bit, Connor. I think some of the players may think we're not going to be at Leeds too long, so we're not going to bother helping them try and stay up, looking at the next move. I know Rafinha helped to stay up last season, but towards back end, I think, yes, he was still playing for the club and still playing for the fans, but we were still always looking for their next move. I think after they've been here for quite a bit, so I think some of the players may do that. I think, and I think some of the old guard, likes of Cooper and Ayling, maybe thinking similar as well, maybe fall short to a certain extent. We're not playing as much this season.
There'd be a big change, wouldn't there? There'd be a huge change.
Huge change in the squad. But I can still see, say if Ayling or Forshaw decide to retire at the end of the season, maybe Jesse or whoever the manager is at that point, come the end of the season, may say stick around to just help the new blood bed in and just pass on your experience of what the fans are like, and in a coaching capacity, even if it's just on the training ground, and just still coming to watch matches, but not being involved in the actual match day, just being involved in the training ground and then watching matches and just helping him out behind the scenes sort of role and everything.
With that and the changing of, like you say, the old guard, I think you've got to be very careful. And we saw parts of it last year, which I think affected us. I know we were hit by injuries, but last year we lost Berardi, we lost Hernandez, we lost big characters all at once. I think getting rid of them all at once impacts clubs more than you realise. And you're right, they are getting phased out. And I think Ayling, we're seeing that this year, that Rasmus has took the right back spot. He's number one choice for right back. So he's slowly getting phased out. I think Cooper will take a little bit longer. Bamford's not first choice up there now. He's fit, and Rodrigo's up front, keeping that spot. So I think they are slowly getting phased out. I think this is where Jesse Marsch can be clever. Keep them around, like you say, and gradually... Thanks for being part of the club. Off you go. I think that'll be Forshaw, unfortunately, for some people. I think that's his injuries.
Yeah,
are just too much now. He'll be gone.
Yeah, I agree, Brownie. I think Forshaw probably be gone in. Maybe stay with us till the end of the season, then maybe go then, mate. I think with Forshaw, whereas with Ayling and a few of the others may stay a bit longer. With just touching on Bamford as well, for me, I think he's not 100% fit just yet, and I think, and also with his touch of the weekend, I think that's a confidence issue with Patrick Bamford, because if he's 100% fit and firing, he'd probably throw that down on his right and then just fire it first time. I think we just took that extra touch.
Everything happened for a reason, though, mate. We wouldn't have had that Somerville moment in the 90th minute if he'd have been able to control the football.
Russ, I'm just going to chirp in there, mate. We are going to have to just end this, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. I apologise. It's just been absolutely hectic, but thank you so much for coming on, mate, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, no, guys, and cheers. Good to meet you as well, Brownie. Good to chat with you as well, my friend.
And you, mate. Speak to you soon.
See you later, buddy.
I think we're going to win 2-0 this weekend as well.
Okay, there we go.
That's happening then.
That's happening, yeah. See you, Russ. There we go, mate. Absolute pleasure, isn't it? There we go. So we've had a few in the building there. Guys, if you do, we are going to go on a little bit more, but we are going to be doing the debrief extra. And that is the pre-recorded video we do. That's uploaded on the Patreon account. Links in the description below, where we just pick a certain topic about Leeds United and discuss it for about 20 to 25 minutes. So if you fancy some bonus content, head on to the Patreon link. I've been talking that much. I'm waffling. Right, mate. So... there we go. Bloody hell. I don't even know where to go with this. Do we start talking about Bournemouth? Do we reflect on Liverpool game a little bit more? I think it's I just think I'm in disbelief that we did what we did, to be honest with you. But I do think that is key to touch on with the better teams, and Leeds actually, like we're talking to Gable about, actually playing better against the elite teams just because they're trying to play through us. I don't know if you agree. I don't think much is going to change against the teams in and around us. I still think there's going to be a little bit of similarities to previous games we've played, because I've just not seen from Jesse at the minute. Although I have thought recently we've been playing with a little bit more width. You've seen a little bit of Cooper spraying the balls a little bit more, which maybe has been a bit tactically flexible.
I think
and Brownie, what I will say as well, to add on to that, it was so evident because of how I thought dominant Liverpool at Fulham were through the middle when you looked at Palhinha and you looked at Pereira. I think it's just so evident that you missed Tyler Adams. That was just so obvious, I thought. And maybe when he's back in, well, obviously, if he's going to be back in against Bournemouth like he wasn't in against Fulham, Leeds will profit from that at home, hopefully.
Yeah, I love, like I say, I've mentioned tonight already, I love Tyler Adams. I think you take him out of a team and you've got a big hole there, which we saw with Fulham. I do agree. I think there's been a slight tactical adaptation, especially down the right, the switch. We saw it, Ayling getting forward. Maybe he put Ayling in just so Rasmus could see how advanced Ayling gets, and that's what he wants from Rasmus. That could be a way of looking at it, because I did think Rasmus on Saturday there was the ball in for Aronson that hit the bar. That was him. I've never seen him that high before. I've never seen him over the halfway line. So there has been a slight tweak. And in the Fulham game, I felt like Sinisterra was hugging onto the touchline a little bit more. So there has been a little bit more width applied. I just think I've said it, we've got to back it up. We've got to find a way to beat these teams that come and just sit in low block, like people like to say. We've struggled with this for years. Like in the Championship, teams would come with a back three and then two wing backs and sit as a back five. And we struggle when we did play with wingers. We had like Costa down one side, Harrison down the other, and we were just cutting the ball back constantly to a centre back, because we've always struggled with breaking teams down. So I think if Jesse can find a way to marry up these brilliant performances against your likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, and picking up wins, because you look at the table and it's that horrific run. It's not like we had to win them all. Just a win and a draw out of that horrific run, and you sat 10th. So the league's that tight, and we've said it numerous times, you yourself, Connor, that there's no real rubbish this season like a Watford or Norwich. So the league is going to be tight. There's going to be a lot of teams. Looking at that bottom three, we're going into November tomorrow. I still wouldn't like to call who would go down. I can't, normally by now there's a standout team. Yes, people will look to Forest as one, but for the other two slots, I have no idea who.
Well, Guido. I mean, Guido said Liverpool had two major runs over the top. Lucky they didn't score. What I would say, Guido, is number one, I do actually think, and I think this is helped by his height and the guy's wingspan. But I do think 1-on-1, when someone's through on goal, there's no one better in the league than Illan Meslier. There's no one better in the league, in my opinion. When it's 1v1, there's no one better than him. And I think that almost, when Nunes went through twice, I think he went through, it might have been 3 times. It's very, very difficult to be able to stick the ball past him. So almost it's more of a half chance for Liverpool because of how good Meslier is at it. And you also look at our chance. People will not classify that Patrick Bamford attempt as a chance, because obviously we didn't get a shot away. That is a huge chance. Jack Harrison has to do better with that chance. Brendan hits the bar. Brendan probably thought to himself he should have done better there. Rodrigo and Harrison played him in. Obviously he went out wide a little bit, did Rodrigo, but it was a decent effort on goal. Leeds, in my opinion, were right in that game. They were right in that game. And for me, and you know, this is it, isn't it, Brownie? Like, when we've played well, everyone, believe it or not, me and Brownie will come on, and me in particular, because I know some of you guys don't like what I say, which is fair enough, but we'll come on and praise the lads, but we'll also criticise the lads when they've not performed to the best, and we'll criticise the manager. And, you know, it's not just, we haven't got agendas, we haven't got targets. It's just one of those things. When Leeds play well, you've got to back it up and say Leeds played well. And I thought we did at the weekend. And I'll be honest, I thought we deserved to win at the weekend. I did. I thought we deserved to win at the weekend. I thought overall, the balance of play towards the last 15, 20 minutes, I thought Leeds smelt blood. And I think
we definitely smelt blood. And you could tell.
I said this before, Brownie. I think if it was a boxing match, Leeds would have edged it. And I think Liverpool fans have admitted that as well.
We definitely smelt blood. I remember saying when Bamford was coming on, he could get a winner here. He did have the chance to do it. Obviously, it was Somerville. So there was a feeling that there was a winner coming. You could feel it. You could.
Yeah, I felt that, Brownie. I felt that. I felt like there was. I don't know. There was something.
Football in the library, but I think they felt it. I think Liverpool fans felt that there was a sting in the tail coming, and it was dead. There was no. The atmosphere was bleak, and you could feel there's a real chance here. But saying that, I do feel we did feel like we rode our luck a little bit. They had some, we at the bar, but they had some big chances. There was one where Salah got in round the back, and I don't know what he tried to do. It was at the other end of the pitch, but he spooned it into the Kop, and it just looked like...
it was Robin Koch. It was an unbelievable tackle again.
No, not the block. He was literally down by the byline. Okay. He got through 2 players somehow. He megged someone, and he got into the box, and he's tried doing something with the outside of his foot, and it spooned up into the Kop, and there was Firmino, there were Nunes, there were Robertson, they were queuing up. And it was at that moment I thought, we can get something here, because they were getting into great areas and not doing anything with it. Like you say, Meslier had a great performance, and he saved 9 shots. So we've got to be fair. He was quite busy. But as the game went on and we were sticking in it, it really did feel like something could happen. And
yeah, I honestly did, mate. I thought we deserved it. I don't know what it is. I thought we were putting the initiative on them as well. I thought we looked dangerous. I thought we looked really, really dangerous. And I think that was, like you say, mate. I mean, you have a striker who can finish. That game's done on 70 minutes. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and I said that earlier in the show. I think we're a prolific number 9, because don't get me, because we can't argue with the fact that we do get big chances. We had the Bamford one at Palace that could have put us 2-0 up, and then it's a completely different game that day. We do create good chances. I mean, he had a hatful against Arsenal. We're a prolific number 9, and it's easy to say because everybody wants a prolific number 9. But I feel if we had a prolific number 9 at the top of the pitch, we're in the top half of the table. We could be in the top half of the table, and then the season's completely different. But we're not. And we don't have that. But that's not on Jesse Marsch. That's not on the last manager. That's the board needing to give this team a proper number 9.
Yeah, well, this is in the Premier League. These are big chances missed. So, like we've just said, that's what you're looking at right now. And Gabriel Jesus has played more. They've all played more minutes. Tony's played more minutes. Watkins, Adams, Haaland, Jesus.
It's not just that they've played more minutes. You've got to look at the players around and think, yeah, they've missed chances, but Haaland's on 17 goals. You look at Tony, he's on 8. Jesus is on 5. They've missed chances, but they are scoring as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bamford's on none. So if you're missing 9 chances, but you've scored 6, fair play, fair enough. You know what I mean? But missing chances and not scoring, it's our Achilles heel at the minute for Leeds. I think that's why we're in 15th position, top end of the pitch. I've said it for a few weeks. 2/3 of the pitch we seem to be covering pretty well. Top end of the pitch, you take Rodrigo out of it, nobody's got any goals.
No, and Gabe said if Adams is a get, we'd be on 18 points. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan, but I understand some people aren't, Gabe. But yeah, I think that's it. I think, you know, even like you said, Brownie, 50% of those chances go in. You're looking at a completely different complexion, and then people will turn around and say, "Well, why are you talking about Jesse being sacked?" Then that's quite right. But at the end of the day, the manager will always be in the firing line, quite literally. And I also think, like we said at the start of this video, there are still problems with Jesse Marsch in terms of, I've mentioned this before, he did well at the weekend, but his substitutions are inconsistent between good and bad. I think overall as well, we need to see a little bit more when it comes, as we've said multiple times, to the lower league teams, because it's all well and good beating Liverpool. It's all well and good beating Chelsea. But after Chelsea, we followed up and lost, and then we continue to lose after Chelsea. After Liverpool, if we go and win, and there's maybe a little bit of tactical flexibility, and that's what I think it's important as well, Brownie. I don't know about you, mate, but I think it's important we put a real performance in and we batter a newly promoted team and we comprehensively beat them and prove to the league and prove to everyone, prove to, you know, even Leeds fans that we can beat the good and the bad in this league. I'm not saying Bournemouth are bad, but compared to Liverpool quality wise, they are. We need to be able. Jesse needs to be tactically flexible and be able to dominate teams like that and not just play really well against the big teams, because that's where he's going to be judged ultimately.
Definitely. I mean, we can't go on another run. We beat Chelsea and then didn't win for 8 games. If that happens again, we don't win till February. That can't happen. We can't now go on another run like that and not win till February. If that happens, you're down. So they've got to take it on board. They've got to look at what happened last time and string a few wins together here and there. You don't have to go on a run of 4, 5, 6 wins. It's virtually impossible unless you're a Liverpool. Well, not Liverpool this season, but an Arsenal, a Man City this season. You don't go on runs of 6, 7 wins. Couple wins here, defeat, draw, couple. I don't think that's out of the question for Leeds United and the squad they've got available. And yeah, we say, why should we be questioning Jesse Marsch if we're just talking about the striker? He's picking him. He's putting him in week after week. Yep. His decision. He's got Nonto, who we've not seen kick a ball until Saturday, who looked very lively, very comfortable. Got Gelhardt, Rodrigo's in. So he has got options, but I give him a little bit of leeway that he doesn't. If he has a prolific number 9, we've got a good team on our hands.
Can I? I'm right. say after this, Connor, you had a question for me, because I will forget, and I need you to remember that, because it's a really good question. I want the chat to all respond as well. Ryan Dudley, cheers for your super chat, mate. I missed this earlier on, sorry. Some of us played well, but needs to be consistent now to win a few of us over still. Tyler Adams is an American David Batty, and I'd agree with that. I mean, that's what I was saying, Brownie. I said that on my match review, and I was getting loads of heat for it because people were like, he scored 2 goals in 2 games. But it's not applying context again. Like, he's only a young lad, and we've still got a lot more to see from him. As I agree with you, I think a lot of people are saying he was almost like a 12 out of 10 at the weekend because he scored a goal, and he was unbelievable against Fulham because he scored a goal. But when you look at the general span of the game, I thought in both games he was good. He definitely made an impact. As I said, he's only young, but he's got a lot to prove, obviously, because he is so young. Yeah. And I still think there are maybe some elements of his game where he's an excellent dribbler. But like we saw at the weekend, we saw a bit of a development, because I was saying prior, when I have seen him play for Leeds United in the final third, he seems like a lot of the players we've got, to be quite honest with you, not consistent. However, at the weekend, he produced in the final third. So if we see that development, mate, fantastic.
Yeah, he can finish. We've seen that in the 23s. He can finish. He is an excellent dribbler. We don't use that. I don't see Leeds as a dribbling team. We get the ball forward as quickly as it can. Yep. I don't see that asset being used to its maximum. You take his goal out of Saturday, and what do you give him out of 10? Because I can't remember him touching the ball in the first half.
And yeah, I think every like, I mean, I was looking at the player ratings afterwards, and everyone was saying sort of 6, 7. So it's not like, you know, he wasn't wasn't mind blowing. Yeah,
no. But the goal obviously is massive, and that's what wins football games. So 2 in 2.
Yep.
You can't.
I think he was doing a lot of good defensive work as well.
Yeah,
a lot of good
he was doubling up with Strike on that left hand side to cabin up Salah, which obviously goes unnoticed to some people, but like you say, defensively he was putting a good shift in.
Yeah.
Which you got to do at Anfield, and then he gets his rewards in the second half. So yeah, 2 in 2. It'd be difficult to take him out of the team against Bournemouth on the back of that.
Yeah, it will.
You had a question for me, Connor?
Yes, I did have a question for you. Honestly, I'd have forgotten. I'd have gone. So what were your thoughts, and everybody in the chat, on Andrea Radrizzani's tweet? Obviously, after the game, he essentially came out and said, "We all need to be together. That's what we can do." Yada yada yada. Now, I just sometimes think,
put the phone away.
Just stop, because you go on there, and they all. I don't know why he does it. He's clearly extremely sensitive as well, which as a football owner, unfortunately, you can't really be sensitive. But I just think to myself, if we, and this isn't saying this is going to happen, by the way, everyone, but it is just one win. You know, we've won 1 game since August. So if we are to go to Bournemouth and let's say not get the expected result, you're giving the fans are going to be going back, retweeting that, quote tweeting it, liking it, you know, commenting under it. I just don't understand why you just can't stay quiet. Just stay quiet. Go with you know.
It's not only that. He must have had some bad signal for the last 2 months, because I've not seen him tweet. And now Now he's popping up after a win. I think the last time he tweeted was the Chelsea game, and now he's popping up after Liverpool.
Yeah.
If you're going to tweet after a football game, you've got to tweet after a defeat as well, for me. You can't just be there. And I think this is why Marsch got a bit of stick at Leicester. You can't be fist pumping the fans when it's going well and then be nowhere to be seen when you get an hiding. All right. So for Rads, he owns the football club and he can do what he wants, but he's got to be consistent. He can't just be milking the applause when we're signing players and winning. He's got to take the brunt when we're getting beat at home to Fulham. And I don't think he tweeted last week.
He didn't, mate. And just for everyone who've missed what he's put out, he's suddenly very active on social media again. But yeah, he's retweeting loads of Liverpool Leeds stuff. Great debut, Willie. We all love Leeds, which is great. And he just said, "We were not rubbish last week.
Well, we were,
and we are not champions tonight. It's a long journey, working and improving together. Together in capital letters, which is clear, game by game, as always. I have been in these 6 years since I had honour to join this unique club, and it's just there's so many.
Mark, though, isn't it? Like one of the callers.
It is, yeah.
I think it was Gabe who said about, do you see? And I don't see Marsch going this season at all. They've backed him with the players he wants, and if the board are clearly behind him. he was their man that they researched, like you say, for a good while. So it's. I mean, he's earned millions and billions off PR, hasn't he? That's his.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
So
yeah,
he knows what he's doing. The club has grown in stature since he's been in charge. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
He does pick his moments, though, doesn't he?
Just maybe put your phone away.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate. Right, everyone. We're going to leave it there. It's been absolutely epic again on the debrief. We are going to be doing the debrief extra, which will be uploaded as a pre-upload onto the Patreon account tonight, where me and Brownie select a topic to talk about, and we stick it up there. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bonus episode. We also are recording Generation Leeds, which will be stuck on there, and we will have more content this week. We may even do a debrief preview. But Brownie, thanks so much for joining, mate.
Brilliant. No, I loved it. It's like I said at the start of the show, football's so good, isn't it? It's brilliant when you win.
It is, yeah. But head on over there if you want some bonus stuff, guys. And yeah, we will see you in a bit. Cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks.